Representative Lauren Boebert pretty much wants to become the next Joe McCarthy and to criminalize free speech. In fact, recently at AmericaFest, Boebert talked about wanting to add a new government agency. Yes, the small government conservative wants a government agency out there to police un-American speech. This is what she said.
And you're right. The Democrats have so many anti-Semitic remarks on their account, and even anti-American remarks. Yeah. I mean, when are we going to have a State Department that combats elected representatives hating the country that they were elected to serve? Right. So there's a lot more that we could focus on, but they would like to distract from that.
Of course, of course.
Anybody else find it ironic that she is literally calling for the government to kill First Amendment protections? Oh yeah, let's create a government agency to go after our political opponents for speech that I don't like. Really? And by the way, she wraps it up in anti-Semitic, I care so much about anti-Semitism. You realize people like Lauren Boebert and evangelicals in America only really care about Israel and Jewish people so that they can fulfill their insane end times prophecy where the Jews go back to Israel, kick off the end times with a gigantic war, which kills most of the people on earth, including all of the Jews who do not repent and join Christianity. Cuckoo. They're insane. And yet she's so concerned about anti-Semitism. Oh my gosh, I am so concerned about that because I have a beef with Ilhan Omar. It's ridiculous. But anyway, she wants to kill free speech, essentially. Again, free speech is the ability to criticize the country and the government without the government arresting you. Again, one of the most ironically anti-American things that she has ever said. Now, do I want her arrested or investigated for it? No, that would be un-American. Now, I would like, however, for them to look into why she was publicly tweeting out her and Nancy Pelosi's position during the January 6th riots. You know, the time where unhinged MAGA chuds were making their way through the Capitol building, searching for Nancy Pelosi and Mike Pence so they could, what were they chanting? What were they chanting? Hang my pants? Is that what it was? Hang my pants? No, it's hang Mike Pence, as in the Vice President of the United States. And they were also after Nancy Pelosi, and as well as people like AOC and other politicians that they don't like. So, yeah, weird. To me, it seems to be like it's rather anti-American to try to overthrow the government based on a lie after a lawful election. That you don't even care about the results of a lawful election, and you choose to use violence and intimidation to try to stop the result that you didn't like. Maybe that might be worthy of a committee. Oh, right, there is a committee. Oh, but Lauren Boebert hates that committee. Oh, that's right. You don't say. Now, here's the thing about the committees that she has proposed, or the government agency or whatever, right? Now, there was one. It was called the House Un-American Committee, ironically. Now, that was created back in 1938 to investigate disloyalty and subversive activities on the parts of private citizens, public employees, and those organizations suspected of having communist ties. In 1947, the committee held 9 days of hearings into communist or alleged communist propaganda and influence in Hollywood. Boy, it sounds like this is something that they do today, doesn't it? And as a result, more than 300 artists, including directors, commentators, actors, and screenwriters, were boycotted by studios. People like Charlie Chaplin, Orson Welles, Alan Lomax, Paul Robeson, Yip Harburg. They either left the United States or had to go underground to find work. Some used pseudonyms to try to be able to get work. This is what the right wing did in this country. Lest we forget. And by the way, you also had Joe McCarthy. Joe McCarthy also proposed doing things that Lauren Boebert talked about, or actually did things that Lauren Boebert was proposing. In fact, McCarthy had headed the Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations back in 1953 and 54. During that time, he used his committee to hunt for his political enemies under the guise of, I'm hunting communism. Yes, I'm going after alleged communists in the government. That's what I'm doing. Now, he went after government employees, which is what Boebert was talking about, figures in the entertainment industry, again, academics, left-wing politicians, and of course, labor union activists. He even investigated the army, including an army dentist, which was such an outrageous scandal that it led to his official censure. Now, Lauren Boebert, she wants to become the next Joe McCarthy. Well, she's definitely started off on the right foot by saying, oh yes, I want to create a government agency, big government, to go after and persecute my political enemies for speech that I don't like. By the way, I'm a principled conservative who loves free speech. Really? Really? But here's the thing. It's super hypocritical. Okay? Again, her beef with Ilhan Omar, and this is what frustrates me about Democrats as well. They piled on Ilhan Omar too for having legitimate criticisms of the right-wing government of Israel and their repeated human rights violations. The Democratic Party did not defend Ilhan Omar against the far right, and they refused. Now, they did call out in the most recent spat with Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene versus Ilhan Omar, they did kind of defend her a little bit, but overall, the Democratic Party seems to be trying to placate the far-right members of this group. And obviously, you can see, no matter where you are in the Democratic Party, it doesn't matter to them. If given a chance, Lauren Boebert would Joe McCarthy you. No, we think you're a communist. They're calling Joe Biden a communist. Joe Biden, the decidedly least left-wing politician, well, I'm not saying politician, but least left-wing president that we have, and certainly was the most right-wing candidate during the 2020 primary. I mean, the whole thing is just really hypocritical, messed up, and just factually incorrect. But it really does illustrate how Lauren Boebert doesn't understand both the law or America and freedom. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.